Next step in the process, I have European bumpers, front and rear. Obviously the S2 bumper's already on it. S2 rear is here. However, this lower section's been painted. Texture's still there at least. Upper section has also been repainted on multiple occasions. It's peeling off quite easily actually. But what we're going to do is we're going to use some aircraft stripper for plastic and strip this down a bit and at least get it cleaned up and nicer looking, so that maybe I'll just put it on there in primer black until we're ready to do actual paint. But that's the next step. Okay, I literally just went straight from the time lapse to this, and like you can see already how much that's already just crinkling it up. This stuff's all baking and popping and fizzing, so that's gonna start peeling off all that paint, melting it away. Let's see how much gap is opened. We'll come over here with a little like plastic scraper, start scraping it up a little bit. This side is not activated as well. Maybe I have to move this out into the sun more. I don't know. We'll play with it. This side went quick though, so we'll play with it. Pretty easy. It's all goopy. It's funny, I don't know why. It seems like it's really, really well activated in certain spots and not so much in others. So we'll keep playing with it, get it off. I'm not filming a lot of this intentionally. This is hell, and it's taking forever. It seems to work better in the sun, so now I'm working in the sun, so I'm sweating like hell. But it's coming off. It comes off the bottom here really well. This is never intended to have paint on it, but a lot of people end up painting it to kind of match the lowers and so forth. I don't personally care for it, but it is a very popular thing to do, is paint to match the rest of the paint. This lower section, I like the black. This will be trim black. I think it does make the cars look a little lower and maybe a little more modern, but I like the style. I like old cars because I like old cars, so I'm not trying to make it look something like else. So I'm gonna keep working on this, keep scraping away, but it sucks and I'm not filming it. Day 27. I think this was a bad idea to start scraping this paint. It takes forever and I regret it. I should have just sanded and painted over like everyone else does. So, still doing this. There's gonna be no time lapse because it just takes way too long, and even a time lapse would not do it justice. I have the front one out here too, and it's not even peeling at all, so we'll see what happens. We might just sand that one up and not go full stripping on it. We'll see. That one at least was smooth and its lower section wasn't painted, so yeah, we'll see. I'm not convinced. This sucks. Seriously, don't strip. All right, well, we'll see how this all turns out once it's dry, but started painting on it just to get a primer coat. This is sandable primer. We'll see how it looks. All right, it's primed. Not looking perfect or anything. Got some striping in that area, but looks decent. Painted the lowers with the trim black, which always looks super good. We're gonna take off some of the tape here, and then I think we're gonna throw this front bumper back on. I'm waiting on some custom brackets for the rear bumper. Just makes it plug and play with the European bumper on a US spec car. There's different holes that hold the bumpers in place, and so because there's different holes, instead of drilling and using the European mounts, I'd rather actually just use a little conversion thingy that's made that's relatively cheap and easier. So We're gonna wait for that to come. It should be here later this week, so we'll probably have them on by the end of the week. But yeah, we'll keep moving. Okay, so I just went over it and did a quick wet sanding on it. This is sandable primer. So I just kind of went over it to get rid of some of that tiger striping that was there, any of the high spots. It actually feels really, really good now. So obviously it still needs to get painted officially, but this will make it look good in the interim. Okay, this is the stock style coupe grille. It's square. This is the non-stock version. This is stock on the front wheel drive models. However, this matches, well, matches more with the other grills. So we're gonna run this style grill in it, and we're gonna swap that out real fast right now. And changed. Pretty straightforward, nothing fancy. Alright, I'm only out here for a little bit, just trying to get a quick thing done. I got in the mail some mounts. These are rear US spec mounting locations to mount a European rear bumper on the back of the car. So I ordered these last week and got them in this week. How do I say this? One of the things about owning an old Audi is there's not a lot of people who manufacture parts for them. And the people who do don't make a lot of money doing it. So finding parts is not always easy, especially when you're looking for something like this. I mean, this is specifically for US market people who want to have the European rear bumpers mounted on their cars. You know, there were only 1,200, well, 17, I've heard different accounts, 1,700 or less Coupe Quattros for sure, imported. And you have to think, I mean, over 25 years, there's probably, I don't know how many out there. I would say there's probably 600, I think, is a high number. And so if every single one of those customers bought every single product you made, you might actually make some money. But the truth is that's not going to happen. So people who make these, it's appreciated. But, you know, in this circumstance, like, they're just kind of, this is how they came. This is a bag of bolts that's got rust on the outside of it. It's got rust all over these. It's just kind of disappointing to see, you know, right out of the box, something like this. So I'm going to just take a wire brush to these, clean them up a little bit, and then try to use some Pour 15 on them and just get them cleaned up and looking decent so I can put on the rear bumper. So we're just going to do this quick. I might try to do a time lapse, see if it works. Okay, that was quick, simple. Cleaned it up, put on the Pour 15 front and back, hung it to dry. This 415 stuff is really, really awesome. Once it sets up, it's like a really, really hard enamel. And like the whole idea behind it is it's a rust prevention stuff, but it has a really good finish and it flows out really, really nicely. So yeah, we'll let those dry, and then maybe tomorrow I'll end up mounting the rear Coupe Quattro / S2 European version bumper. Gets rid of the ugly two-piece and replaces it with a single flowing rear bumper. So we'll probably get to that tomorrow. Probably be right now. All right. This is dried for like, I don't know, 24-ish hours. They look really good. Pretty happy with the overall finish and look. You obviously saw it before. It looked terrible. This is what they should have looked like from the beginning. So yeah. Boom, boom. Much better. Clean, nice. And protected. So, these are, as I think I explained, they're going to hold the rear European bumper. The European bumper mounts a little bit differently. The US spec cars, and Canadian for that matter, the North American spec cars, do not have the same style mounts. They have the 5-mile-per-hour crash bumpers that are two-piece. Personally, I think they look terrible. Of course, the grass is always greener on the other side. For whatever reason, the Europeans like our weird bumpers, and we like their bumpers. So, I'm going to be... I already installed the S2 bumper. I kind of showed that. Off camera, I did a little bit more work. So anyway, I installed the front bumper back on the car. I also installed the fog lights, the European fog lights and stuff like that. So we're going to move to the next step and try to get these guys on the car with that European rear bumper. And I'll try to show the process of what that looks like. Okay, I'm just going to show this really fast. So here's the bracket that I have. Here's the one that's original. Now this is actually kind of a weird one. I normally don't see these ones. These are from the later cabs, I believe. Like the later cabriolets in Europe. Normally there's two bolts, one here and one here. This one actually has an offset one down here. This is how it sits in here. Now you'll notice that these are through bolts, and these actually bolt onto the inside of the trunk area. People do actually often use the stock one, and they drill a hole, and then this hole sits in an empty hole where the actual bumper shock sits and lives, and bolted on that way. This is a nice thing because you don't have to drill into your tub, if you will. Although this actually looks, if I'm looking at this correctly, it actually looks like it lines up with that bottom hole. So we're just going to use these on this. It'll sit like this. That'll sit right there. And then it'll get bolted through here. There's a small access hole. So you put it on an extension, put it up there, mount it. Same thing on the other side. So now we're going to pull off the original bumper. And yeah, see how everything looks. So I'm gonna just for reference, this is the US bumper. It's clearly, let's shine a light just in case. I don't know what this looks like on camera. It clearly has this piece in the middle surrounded by this. This part is made to go in. And if the whole concept is if you were in a small accident that was under 5 miles an hour, there would be zero structural damage to the car. Basically, there's bumper shocks. It would absorb that impact, and you'd have no actual physical damage to your car. You'll notice this thing has nothing. This has a huge, heavy crash bar inside of it that probably weighs 30-ish pounds. This weighs probably 5-10 pounds, the whole assembly. So it's also a nice way to lose some extra weight off these hefty cars. So we'll remove this, put on this, and be done. Okay, in the trunk area, bolts are down here. Got to remove them, get the main section out. Okay, I still need to remove this. It has bolts on the inside of the fender on the backside, and then it also has some bolts along here, along the top, like that one right there. So you just gotta take all those off. And then this is the bracket, so you can see the 3 holes that are there. This will go to the 3 holes, and then it'll have the mount for the correct bumper. So we'll install this and remove the rest of the bumper, and we'll be good to go. Lighting's good now, so you can actually see. So here are the new bolts going through the mounting points right there along the frame rail. So yeah, that's now in position, like that. And we'll do the other side. All right. Okay, so 2 parts, both removed and looking very naked back here. So now, also found out, that's the CAC Custom Autocraft. It's a place out of Europe. That's on the car too. So fun stuff. Now onto the European. I'm gonna stop here for the night. I didn't attach it at the fender side there, but we got it all mounted up in the back. I got a slightly loose hanger. This should be a little bit higher up there-ish. But yeah, other than that, it looks good. Looks a lot nicer, and it weighs a hell of a lot less. All right, so I think we're gonna stop it for tonight, and this will probably be the end of this video since we kind of have Euro bumpers mounted, and that's kind of the theme. So yeah, stay tuned for the next time. More work to come. I hate it when I say thanks for watching.